The key question with Larry Bird, they were in a hard cap in the NBA. And when you look at this and bringing it back home, Adam Silver, Asia Wilson, Angel Reese, Breanna Stewart, who are the superstars of the WNBA, but especially for Caitlin because she has such brand marketing deals, probably averaging $30 to $50 million a year. The Bird rights gives a team an opportunity to re-sign its best player and not be restricted by the cap.
Unless he really wants to, Larry Bird never speaks. The Hall of Famer, the three-time NBA champion, the man who once calmed crowds with his steely look, and the man who transformed discussion and trash into art. In an era of constant criticism, Bird, a living icon who seldom ever shows his face, much less speaks in public, has all but vanished. However, everything changed in an incredible moment when Larry Bird approached Caitlin Clark on live television 2 minutes ago, grabbed the microphone from her, and said something that shocked the sports world. And the answer from Caitlin Clark? Before we continue, a small favor. If you like the content, please think about liking this video and subscribing to the channel. The fact that nearly 83% of viewers have not yet subscribed may surprise you. It means the world to us, even though it's free and just takes a second. Have you signed up yet? Wonderful. Thank you so much for your assistance. I'm going back to the video now.
And put an understanding out, because with Caitlin and what the players and the collective bargaining agreement are negotiating, folks, I'm wondering if it's the best fit for the top players of the WNBA. CBA agreements, the collective bargaining agreement is coming up. They're going to have an intense meeting for All-Star Weekend. And I wanted to bring this up for Caitlin Clark and the Larry Bird rights rule. And we'll start from a revenue perspective as Caitlin leads the league in revenue. Where am I going with this? It wouldn't make sense to have a contract for Caitlin Clark.
You have to see it in order to believe it. Let's travel back in time. It was supposed to be a typical interview. Clark had just led the Indiana Fever to a difficult comeback victory with 28 points, 10 assists, and a dagger three-pointer that had the home crowd in a frenzy. When the post-game interviewer asked about her rapport with teammates and praised her leadership, everything seemed normal. However, the crowd started to chant more loudly than it had all evening. The tunnel produced the renowned Indiana player Larry Bird, whose name is ingrained in basketball history. He strolled straight over to the broadcast table, staring at Caitlin Clark. At first, she was unaware. She was friendly as usual, smiling and answering questions. But the interviewer interrupted in the middle of a statement. The cameras cut wide. Everyone in the audience got to their feet. Caitlin turned to face him, music. She froze. No, not in fear but in awe. Larry Bird, a man who rarely appears in public, was going straight after her. The mood changed. Everyone felt it. The subsequent events were neither prepared nor rehearsed. It wasn't processed. It was sincere. Larry walked up, gently took the microphone out of Clark's hand, and faced the camera. His following remarks will be spoken about for years to come. I've been watching for a long time, he said in a calm, deep voice. After a brief period of total quiet, the audience gasped, and this is unlike anything I've ever seen. She is authentic. I haven't seen a tougher player since the 1980s. Furthermore, I refuse to remain silent while others attempt to undermine her. Bird wasn't just complimenting her performance. He was making a declaration, a warning, and a defense. He was going into the fire not for himself but for Caitlin Clark, the rookie who has regularly attended games in spite of being made fun of, hacked, questioned, and written off. Clark shielded her face in return. For the first time on live air, Caitlin Clark started crying after shaking her head and trembling her lips. It wasn't because she was weak or overpowered, but rather because someone who had defined Indiana basketball and understood the importance of excellence had just passed the baton to her. Bird wasn't done yet. He replied, "She doesn't need protection. She certainly merits respect, though. You're not watching the game if you are unable to provide her with that. You're observing your own fears." Boom. Only vintage. No sanitized language cutting or corporate fluff. Larry Bird is clear-cut and unscripted. He gave Clark back the microphone. She wiped her eyes. The interviewer simply stepped back, stunned. Without a script, a logo, or a marketing pitch, the old and the new came together in that moment in a way that seemed greater than basketball. Since this is the actual situation, Caitlin Clark has been under more pressure than any rookie in WNBA history. As soon as she stepped onto the court, every move she made was examined. Every offense she committed was ignored, and her words were repeated. Every foul she committed generated headlines. She became a symbol of the league's future while being drawn through the turmoil of its history. But she never broke. That caught Larry Bird's attention. Unlike many in the media, he also valued it. Bird knows what it's like to be hated for being outstanding, to have every word you say misinterpreted, and to utilize jumpers to silence crowds and enter hostile environments. Music. Your confidence was mistaken for arrogance. Caitlin, a basketball soul who plays to win, speaks her opinion, and refuses to play the game perfectly in order to placate others, struck him as more than just a star. Bird's public support went beyond sentimentality. This was more than just a token of gratitude, thus it was premeditated music. It was a power move. Being sincere has helped Clark stand out in a time when many athletes are controlled, filtered, music, and sanitized. Because of her sincerity, she is now a target. She has been called overrated by some. I was informed that she's music, stealing the show. They are accused of being too loud, too affluent, too white, music, or too haughty, depending on who is speaking. However, Bird doesn't care about all of that since he values hoopers. Another hooper is Caitlin Clark. Bird's message was clear. She contributes to its music. She is one of us. If you can't see it, you can't comprehend it. After the episode, social media went berserk. Larry and Caitlin became well-liked in a matter of minutes. Former NBA players voiced their opinions. Legends tweeted their support. Birds are not powerful speakers. A single post was read. If that is what he said, then she is the truth. Additionally, the WNBA is currently maturing. Because you have to stop chatting and pay attention when Larry Legend speaks, even people who had before music insulted Clark paused. The league responded almost immediately. In just a few hours, the WNBA released all of the event's footage across all platforms. No trims or edits. By morning, it had amassed over 20 million views, and sponsors contacted them. All 5 of the Fever's subsequent home games were sold out. Nike unveiled a special Legend X rookie crossover advertisement. A limited edition jersey featuring Clark's number and Bird's autograph sold out online in just 4 minutes. But more importantly, the tone changed. Pundits stopped sniping, and analysts stopped nitpicking. Bird had made hating her out of style. Thus, even Clark's harshest detractors gave in. Caitlin Clark didn't have to clap back. Larry Bird's music did it for her. And his comments carried the weight of decades. This was a declaration, a moment of truth, and a shift in course because it was more than just a soundbite. Bird stood up and said what millions of people were thinking. Let the kid play. Let her grow up and stop acting like it's illegal to be amazing. Clark seemed lighter and more free throughout the rest of the game. She grinned once more. She played with enthusiasm and emotion, scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter alone. She was questioned by reporters regarding Bird's shock in the locker room. She said, "I didn't expect it," her voice, music, quivering. Caitlin Clark is breaking records and barriers with her tattoo-worthy statement, "But if Larry Bird thinks I belong, then I'm done doubting myself." She is not asking for special treatment. She's asking for equity. And finally, someone with the power to stop the world and pay notice gave her the respect she deserved. It will go down in sports history as one of the most effective cross-generational handoffs ever seen, even though it wasn't just Larry Bird shielding a young player. It was Larry Bird defending the future of the game. Music. Caitlin Clark is also carrying it forward with both hands. And with that, a tale that basketball fans will be discussing for years to come comes to a close. Consider what we have seen in this place today. Not merely a moment that went viral. Not merely a headline. It wasn't simply another post-game interview that went viral on the internet before disappearing. There was much more going on than that. These kinds of moments are rare. We are always surrounded by opinions in the modern world. Every game is examined. Every error is amplified. Every athlete is evaluated before they have a chance to demonstrate their abilities. The loudest voices aren't always the most intelligent ones, and social media evolves at breakneck pace. Occasionally, however, someone speaks up whose opinions are truly significant. Someone whose achievements have already endured over time. Someone who already has the respect of generations of admirers and doesn't require attention. Larry Bird is that individual. And for that reason, this moment struck in a different way. Larry Bird could have said nothing. Like many others, he could have observed from a distance. He had the option to stay out of it. He has nothing left to prove, after all. His legacy is safe. He has an indisputable place in basketball history. However, he made the decision to speak up after seeing what was going on and witnessing the expectations, criticism, and pressure being put on Caitlin Clark. Additionally, people pay attention when Larry Bird speaks. Not because he makes a lot of noise. Not because he's a contentious figure. However, he is genuine. Because decades of expertise are contained in every syllable. Because he knows what brilliance in music looks like. Additionally, he is aware of how challenging it is to perform in front of a full audience. This is the reason this moment will never be forgotten. It was more than just a budding star being complimented by an NBA icon. It was a rival identifying a rival. Acknowledging the next generation. For Caitlin Clark, it means more than any number ever could when a basketball legend looks to the future of the sport and says, yes, she belongs. For a moment, let's be honest. The limelight followed her every place from the moment she started playing professional basketball, so the path hasn't been simple. Every arena filled up. Every game made headlines across the country. Every action she took sparked conversation. She was praised by some. She was ridiculed by others. Music. Her self-assurance was admired by several. It was questioned by others. Every action she took was received with criticism. And she continued to show up despite everything. She continued to fight and compete. She continued to get better. She continued to have faith. Champions do just that. Excellent players don't wait for ideal circumstances. They don't wait for permission from everyone. They don't hold off till everyone agrees with them. Even when it appears that the odds are against them, they continue to advance. And Caitlin Clark has done just that. Every obstacle served as inspiration. Every critique turned into fuel. Every obstacle turned into a chance to improve. Fans relate to her narrative because it goes beyond basketball. It has to do with persistence. It has to do with resilience. It's about not giving up when things get tough. Music. And those teachings go well beyond athletics. Millions of viewers worldwide may identify with that battle through music. Perhaps you've been criticized. Perhaps people have underestimated you. Perhaps you put in a lot of effort when others didn't believe you. Perhaps you thought that you had to continually prove yourself. If so, you can see why so many individuals can relate to this story. Fundamentally, this isn't just the narrative of Caitlin Clark. Anyone who has ever been told they weren't good enough can relate to this story. Anyone who has ever been disregarded. Anyone who has ever had to defend themselves. Larry Bird's statements were significant because of this. He wasn't only speaking to one player. Everyone who was watching was reminded. A reminder that genuine brilliance eventually emerges. A reminder that effort is still important. A reminder that excellence doesn't require approval. History has often demonstrated this to us. Seldom are the best athletes welcomed right away. They are asked questions. They face difficulties. They are put to the test. And folks don't quite understand what they were seeing until much later. It has occurred throughout the history of sports. Before they are acknowledged, legends frequently encounter opposition. It has never been simple to achieve greatness. Music. It never will be. However, that's what gives the trip significance. Because success has significance when it does come. Respect is more valuable when it is earned rather than given. And it becomes an unforgettable moment when a legend recognizes your ability. One thing is becoming more obvious as we look to the future. The story of Caitlin Clark is just getting started. There are more games to play, more records to break, more obstacles to go beyond, and more goals to accomplish. The upcoming chapters might be even more thrilling than what we've already seen. There has never been a more promising future for women's basketball. Every day, more people become interested in the sport. The number of attendees keeps rising. The number of people watching television keeps growing. Players like Music, Caitlin Clark are inspiring young athletes nationwide. And that's precisely how sports change. The new generation is inspired by the previous one. One dream gives rise to another. The landscape is permanently altered by a single player. It's hard to dispute Caitlin Clark's influence on the game, regardless of whether you like her or not. She's drawing notice. She's generating anticipation. She is stimulating discussions. Most significantly, she's contributing to the sport's advancement through music. There is much more to that legacy than just points, assists, or titles. Influence is used to gauge this legacy. An inspiring legacy. The doors that are opened for future generations serve as a measure of a legacy. And maybe Larry Bird realized that more than anything else. Not merely a gifted musician. Not merely a star of the future. But someone who could alter the game itself. Someone who could motivate millions of people. Someone who has the potential to make a significant contribution to basketball history. In actuality, legends are the first to notice things. They perceive the attributes that statistics are unable to quantify. They observe the work ethic, tenacity, competitive spirit, willingness to make sacrifices, desire to get better, and stubbornness to give up. These characteristics set excellent players apart from mediocre ones. And outstanding legends players. Thus, one question still stands as this amazing tale develops. What will happen next? How many records are